Hi, Paul here. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. Last week we had some awesome footage from Killington Ski Resort. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link to it up in the right hand corner. In this video I'm going to show the end of that flight when I get home to Bedford. I'm on flight following and it's a pretty busy day for ATC. As I was going through the footage to put this video together, I had kind of a revelation as to how I was dealing with ATC. I wasn't as efficient as I should have been. When we get there, I'll talk about it and what I'm going to do differently in the future. Also, I flew this approach faster than I normally do, and I'll go through what prompted me to do that and my interaction with the tower controller. So check the video out. I hope you enjoy it.
Southwest 1350, we have the RNAV in if we can do that.
November 14 Alpha, circling the airfield right above Nashville, put your right way of my Manchester arrivals. Can I bring you to the north a little bit?
Okay, so let's jump right into this. As you can see, I'm traveling along here. I'm going about 200 miles an hour. I'm about 30 miles from my destination, which is Bedford, Massachusetts. I've just passed Manchester, New Hampshire, and I'm at 4,500 feet. Shortly, you're going to hear an indication that says vertical track. Meanwhile, you can hear ATC in the background, jabbering away, talking a lot. They're pretty busy. There's a lot of airline traffic, plus some general aviation traffic. I'm on flight following for this flight, which means that I have a transponder code, and they are watching for traffic for me. I mentioned that I'm 30 miles away from my destination. Now this may seem like a long time. In a car going 60 miles an hour to travel 30 miles would take a half an hour, 30 minutes. But this airplane is going 200 miles an hour. At 200 miles an hour to cover 30 miles, it would take about 9 minutes. I need to get this airplane down to what they call pattern altitude. For this airport it's 1,100 feet, but let's just call it 1,000 feet. So I'm at 4,500 feet. I need to descend to 1,000 feet. So that's 3,500 feet. A comfortable descent rate for this airplane is 500 feet per minute. So at 500 feet per minute, it's going to take me 7 minutes to get this airplane from 4,500 feet down to 1,000 feet, or 1,100 feet. It's close enough. I've programmed the avionics for this descent so it'll get me down to the proper altitude at the right time. So when you hear that vertical track enunciation, that's my indication that in 1 minute I'm going to get to the point where I need to start descending to maintain this comfortable descent rate. Now, it's not the end of the world if I miss the start time for my descent. It just causes me to fall further and further behind the airplane, as we call it, as we pilots call it. And it means I have to descend at a steeper rate, or slow the airplane down, which both are not really ideal.
Vertical track.
November 5305 for Romeo Boston, approach radar contact. Turn left heading 270, climb to your VFR requested altitude.
Approach 2NN has Tango.
November 2, November, Roger. November 138, Mike Charlie, contact approach 124.4.
124.4, Mike Charlie, connect. Direct nose for the RNAV runway 16 at Beverly VFR on nav.
996, Roger, so I'm maintaining 2,500 for now.
Climb to 2,500, Lance 996. Cirrus 138, Mike Charlie, level 4,500, would like to begin a VFR descent.
That was my first call to a new controller. I've just changed sectors. The last controller, who was also very busy, switched me over to this new controller. Now the new controller, he's also very busy, and I asked him basically for permission to descend. Now you're going to notice he doesn't answer me. He has other calls that are higher priority than my call. So I know he heard me, but he didn't answer me. But now I've put myself in a situation. I've asked him for permission to descend, and he hasn't given it to me. Sometimes I call these guys up and they want me to stay at altitude for whatever reason. There may be traffic or there may be a conflict. So I like to ask in this area. It's a very busy area, and as you can tell, he's very busy. So I wait. It takes about a minute, and I ask again. He doesn't immediately respond to me again. He has more important calls to make, so he makes those calls. Then he comes back to me and just says to me, 8 Mike Charlie, altitude pilot discretion, which means that I can descend. I can do pretty much whatever I want.
And Sirius 138 Mike Charlie, level 4,500.
Sirius 138 Mike Charlie, Boston, approach, roger.
8 Mike Charlie, I'd like to start a VFR descent also.
Number 574, Connie, Bedford Tower, good day.
Over to Tower, number 574, take care, man.
Number 2752, Connie, Boston Tower, 128.8, good day.
28.8, 27, good day.
8 Mike Charlie, altitude, your discretion.
8 Mike Charlie.
Number 996 is trying to keep
I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I had a revelation. It dawned on me as I was reviewing this footage that I made 3 calls to this guy trying to get permission that I didn't really need, and that permission was to descend in his airspace while I was on flight following. When you're on flight following, it's really up to the pilot as to the course you take and the altitude you fly. What I should have done was just called this guy up and said to him, Boston approach, this is Sirius 138 Mike Charlie, level 4,500, beginning VFR descent. And that would have been it. He was busy. He didn't need to answer me. If he didn't answer me, I was good to start my descent. If he had a problem with me descending, then he's a pro. He's obviously a pro. He would have just come back to me and said, 8 Mike Charlie, maintain 4,500. And that would have been it. And I would have waited for him to tell me to get lower. So by telling him what I was going to do, instead of asking him for permission to do it, I could have saved us both a lot of back and forth and saved him time that he obviously needed to give other airplanes instructions. Now, some of my pilot friends, if you're watching this video, or other pilots, it may be painfully obvious to you that that's how he should have been handling this. But, you know, as you know, the pilot's license is a license to learn, and sometimes you either forget some of the nuances, or, you know, maybe I never covered that in my flight training. But it kind of makes sense now. So from this time forward, you should never hear me ask for permission to descend when I'm on flight following.
1535 Boston approach, good afternoon.
Bedford approach, Star Trek 101, sitting via the Delta 2 arrival into Bedford.
Star Trek 101, Boston approach, fly heading is 080, send to maintain 4,000.
Star Trek 101, remember this guy's call sign. He's just checked in about 15 miles to the west of Hanscom Field, Bedford Airport, and we're about 10 to 12 miles to the north of the airport.
Sirius 8 Mike Charlie, field in sight.
Sirius 8 Mike Charlie, Squawk VFR, connect Bedford Tower, have a good day.
Okay, VFR over to Tower, have a good day, Mike Charlie.
Number 31996, contact Beverly Tower, have a good day.
Thanks a lot, Lance 996. Hanscom Tower, Sirius 138 Mike Charlie is 10 to the north with Papa land.
Sirius 138 Mike Charlie, Hanscom Tower, Port Midfield, right down, runway 29er.
Midfield right down, 129er, right, Mike Charlie.
Number 1, holding short of the runway, set call sign, direction of flight. Sirius 8 Mike Charlie, traffic 5 west of Route 2 and 495 is a Lear Jet joining the right downwind. I'll keep you advised as you get closer.
Okay, Mike Charlie, be looking for the traffic.
So what's he talking about here? Well, turns out he's talking about our friend Star Trek 101, who we heard just a few minutes ago check into Boston approach. He's about 15 miles to our west, and we're about 10 miles to the north of the airport. And obviously we're on converging paths. So the controller here is just giving us a heads up that this guy is coming into the airfield at the same time as we are. He's not really sure, the controller, as to what we're going to do. Normally I would slow down to 120 knots once I got to my pattern altitude, which I'm pretty close to now. But in this case, I decided this guy's still pretty far out. If I do slow down, then we probably are going to arrive at the airport at the same time. So I decide to maintain my speed, which is about 160 knots into the airport. The controller in this case is waiting to see how things pan out. If I had slowed down, the Lear Jet would probably end up in front of me. By maintaining my speed, as you'll see in a few minutes, the Lear Jet is told to follow me. Now, it's not really an inconvenience to the Lear Jet because he was still pretty far out and we were pretty close. I was set up to fly into the right downwind. Pretty soon you'll hear the controller clear me to land, in which case I turn off the autopilot and I turn the airplane to join a right base. My only other task now is to get the airplane slowed down to approach speed, which, if you pay attention, I'm not going to narrate it, but if you pay attention, you'll see the flaps go down, the nose come up a little bit, and we get slowed down to a safe speed, and we get to what we call a stable approach by 500 feet, which means that the airplane is properly configured and is at the proper approach speed. So check it out. I'm not going to talk anymore during this. I hope you enjoy it.
November 6 Alpha Bravo, contact Boston, departure 124.4.
For departure 244, see you, 6 Alpha Bravo.
Bedford Tower, Star Check 101, 3,500, setting up the visual for runway 29er.
Star Check 101, Hanscom Tower, runway 29er, continue, be number 3, following a Cirrus inbound from the northwest. They'll be at your 12 o'clock and 7 miles, joining the right downwind.
Roger, continuing to look for the traffic, Star Check 101.
Just want to confirm for Sunbird 574, still clear to land 29?
Sunbird 574, from runway 29er, clear to land.
29, clear to land, Sunbird 574.
Star Check 101, additional traffic is the Cherokee off the departure end. It'll be straight out for now, eventually turn to the northwest.
Roger, look at Star Check 101.
November 285, Mike Kilo, traffic 7 to the northwest of the field, entering right downwind is a Lear Jet at 3000, report site.
We're looking for that traffic at 5 Mike Kilo.
Cirrus 138, Mike Charlie, number 2, following Hawker, traffic short final, runway 29er, clear to land.
Number 2, following Hawker, traffic, clear to land, 8 Mike Charlie. Jet Hawker just touching down.
Ready, Mike Charlie, affirmative, number 1 now.
Number 1, 8 Mike Charlie.
Sunbird 574, if you can make it, runway 23 is available.
Alright, we'll make a left turn on 23, Sunbird 574.
Sunbird 574, left turn, runway 23, contact ground point 7.
Left on 23, we'll talk to ground, Sunbird 574.
November 285, Mike Kilo, Lear traffic is ahead and to your right and 2 miles on the right, downwind 2,100 feet.
Negative contact, we got him inside 5 Mike Kilo.
Or 5 Mike Kilo behind that traffic, proceed on course.
Altitude.
Proceed on course behind the traffic, 5 Mike Kilo.
Star Check 101, traffic's ahead and to your right now, straight out of 1,800 feet now. The Cherokee has you in sight, we'll pass behind.
Roger, Star Check 101.
Star Check 101, Cirrus traffic follows now close in on the right base, no factor, number 2, runway 29er, clear to land.
29er, clear to land, Star Check 101.
Or 5 Mike Kilo, additional traffic, 5 to the southwest of Minuteman, inbound for the right downwind is a citation, descending through 3,300.
5 Mike Kilo is looking.
Over 263 November, Delta, hold this short runway 29er, departure west, request short delay on the runway.
Number 263, November Delta, Hanscom Tower, Roger, hold short runway 29er, landing traffic.
Hold short 29er, 3 November, Delta.
500.
check 1011 Cherokee departure prior to arrival.
Roger.
November 8, Mike Charlie, turn left at Golf, contact ground point 7.
Left at Golf, over to ground, 8 Mike Charlie.
November 263, November Delta, runway 29er, clear for immediate takeoff. Traffic is a Lear right base to a 2-mile final.
Avail for hold short 3 November Delta.
3 November Delta, roger, cancel takeoff, clearance hold short, runway 29er.
Short 9 3 November Delta.
Star check 101, disregard departure.
Roger.
November 5, Mike Kilo, traffic 11 to 12 o'clock, 5 miles north.
Hanscom ground, Cirrus 138 Mike Charlie, clear the active Golf, taxi western ramp.
Cirrus 138 Mike Charlie, Hanscom ground, taxi western via Echo Juliet.
Echo Juliet western ramp, 8 Mike Charlie.
And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the like button below and consider subscribing. Until next video, take care. Bye.
That's my second fast approach. Second time in a row into Bedford. This place gets crazy sometimes. That's it. We're back.
Touch record information, Quebec 9 altimeter 3031.